So we got this story from Just the News. Boebert, Hannity have heated exchange over McCarthy vote. Alternative speaker picks game show. McCarthy bid for speaker has been blocked by Boebert and a small coalition of conservative Republicans. I am no Hannity fan. Hannity, man, I love that exchange about Amazon between Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity when Tucker gave him Tucker face. You know, Tucker face when he's like, you know, he stands there and he does that because Hannity was like, it's a private business. They can do what they want. And Tucker's like, they're exploiting the working class. I just think it's funny to see that Tucker Carlson has become this, you know, right-wing populist over the years. Now he's at odds with the corporatist neocon likes of Sean Hannity. So the reason why I launched with this story is Lauren Boebert's right. Kevin McCarthy is a bad choice. Let me show you this story here from the Daily Mail. Elon Musk says Kevin McCarthy should be speaker as voting farce reaches third day with Republicans still at stalemate after 6 ballots. That's right. We're going to number 7 now. The key story here. We got a tweet from Jack Posobiec last night. McCarthy leadership super PAC just cut a deal to not get involved in safe open seat primaries per Punchbowl News. For many anti-McCarthy votes, this was a top concern. Well, all right. That may be the end of it. The big concern for a lot of people is that Kevin McCarthy is actively working against MAGA candidates. He actively worked against Trump. So people are outright like, I don't want to support this guy. But if they agree to back off, this would mean more America First candidates, more MAGA candidates could win and gain influence. Then maybe Kevin McCarthy will get the votes. To be honest, I'm not entirely convinced because I think when you look at Boebert and Gates, their position is outright never Kevin. I kind of agree. Look, man, I'm getting lobbied from everybody on the right, and they're saying like, and not necessarily directly, but a lot of people, I've had some tweet interactions, I've had some messages, but I'm just seeing their lobbying on Twitter. I'm going to be clear. I'm seeing a lot of these people say, listen, man, Kevin McCarthy has made concessions. You're going to get your investigations. It's the best you will get. Even Mike Cernovich. I think Cernovich is a very smart guy. I take his insights very seriously. If you don't underestimate Mike Cernovich, he's been right about a lot of things. He called out ballot harvesting years ago. A lot of stuff, too. Epstein. He was directly involved in exposing Epstein and getting that whole thing running, him and as a lawyer and a journalist out of Miami. So mad respect for Mike Cernovich. And he says, look, Jim Jordan's, he's not going to get it. He doesn't want it. And Scalise is going to sneak in. I think he said Scalise will sneak in amnesty. So I can certainly understand why a lot of people are saying Kevin McCarthy should be speaker. Let's just get it done with. But inspired by Elon Musk saying that Kevin McCarthy should be speaker, I decided to poll my Twitter followers and ask, should Kevin McCarthy be speaker? And 88% as of the past, half an hour said no, he should not be. And look, man, the people who follow me, it's a mixed bag. I'm not, this MAGA hat wearing, Trump supporting. My Twitter account is a weird thing. I get, I tweet. Let's just say I tweet things that people on the right get mad about. It was really funny. What did I tweet? I tweeted, stop sending money to Ukraine and use that money to pay reparations to the descendants of slavery, of people who were enslaved. And then I ended up getting emails from conservatives being like, you've lost it, Tim. I can't follow you anymore. I can't believe you would support reparations. And I'm just like, how long have you followed me if you think that tweet was meant to literally advocate for reparations? Because I've actually long said outright, cash reparations, that isn't going to work. And at this point, race-based reparations won't work either. We need just class-based solutions in a general way so that no one is preferenced based on race or whatever. But my point is, I think the people who follow me understand the nuance. These are not diehard Trump supporters. These are regular people, a lot of regular people, politically active, and I would argue mostly moderate. And they are saying no to Kevin McCarthy. And that, I think, is the most important takeaway from this big battle. Reason being, Republicans only win when they convince moderates to vote for them, because the Republican Party has historically been smaller than the Democratic Party, at least in my lifetime. Now, thanks to the likes of people like Scott Pressler, that's actually been not so much the case. Scott has done such a tremendous job recruiting people, signing people up, registering voters, and cleaning up the streets that we're starting to see major shifts in Republican Party registration. However, when you look at the polls, Republicans need to convince moderates. And I'll tell you why. It really is simple. And y'all are going to love it. People on the right tend to be politically motivated. And that means when someone comes out and says something like Kevin McCarthy should be speaker, the people associated with the right say, give me one good reason. And so far, I'll say this. There have been a few, but a lot of people are saying, give me 10 good reasons. And the few good reasons are, let's just be real. I'm not going to sit here and act like there's not a single logical argument for Kevin McCarthy. Look, the GOP sucks. The establishment sucks. Kevin McCarthy there's a lot of bad things about what he's supported, the narratives he's supported, the actions he and his PACs and things like that have taken. But one argument is it's the best you're going to get. You're not going to get a Byron Donalds. You're not going to get a Jim Jordan. You're not going to get a Thomas Massey. You're going to get a Kevin McCarthy, and you've got him all ready to make concessions. Kevin McCarthy opposed the $1.7 trillion omnibus bill. So from the Republican Party perspective, it's like, guys, this is progress. For me, I am not of the Republican Party perspective because I don't like the Republican Party. I like a handful of people in the Republican Party, especially right now, Lauren Boebert and Matt Gaetz at top of my list. Thomas Massey, don't get me wrong, he's for McCarthy. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's for McCarthy as well. I got no beef with them for that. I just think Kevin McCarthy is pandering, and you put him in the speakership, and you're not going to get what you think you're going to get. But that being said, you hold out, and there is a real fear. Right now, we had a tweet last night from Charlie Kirk. Ro Khanna, Democrat, apparently, this is what Charlie Kirk had put out. So, you know, if you're a fan of Charlie Kirk, Ro Khanna wanted a coalition unity government by some Democrats will come and support a speaker if they restrict Republican subpoena power. That would be the apocalypse for this midterm and for these Republicans. The only thing Republicans have right now is the ability to file subpoenas. This is what happened in 2018. Donald Trump is the president. Senate is Republican. House goes Democrat. The Democrats then use subpoena power to go after Trump and go nuts. Republicans, like Kevin McCarthy, like McConnell, many of them, actually assisted Democrats by playing the stupid game where they just drive the speed limit. Well, maybe Donald Trump really is a Russian asset, and naive little old me entertained it all the same. Well, I learned my lesson. I saw the evidence and said, hey, these people took me for a ride. They lied about all of this. The media. It was naive. It was outright. And even though I knew the media was lying, even with my experiences, I was like, look, when you see so many stories about Trump and potentially getting paid by Russia and stuff, you say, maybe we should take a look at that. And then you realize it was a hoax. Then you get the evidence it was a hoax. And not just a hoax, but a $30-something million hoax stretched out for years, and they still won't stop. And now I am pissed off. And I say, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You're not going to fool me a third time. And that means my attitude is, don't care if it's Kevin McCarthy or otherwise. But I can certainly understand this. If there is a restriction on subpoena power, this midterm election will have been literally nothing. It will be the defeat. There will be nothing. There will be no inquiries. There will be no investigations. Now, that's a scary prospect. Still, I'm going to tell you, it does not make me support Kevin McCarthy. Where I stand, we were talking with Blake Masters over on Timcast IRL just before the break for Christmas and New Year's. And I said, I got to be honest, I know it might sound really bad to a lot of people. I can see Will Chamberlain's eyes rolling when I say this because, you know, Will's a good friend. I kind of like the revenge. It feels good. It feels very, very good. And if nothing else, there is an emotional satisfaction that we do not often get. Seeing Kevin McCarthy fail in 6 ballots is cathartic. Because I just, sitting down with Milo Yiannopoulos. Well, so let me slow down. Go back to the Blake. This is what I said with Blake Masters. Blake seems to be more of a guy who's like, come on, let's try and get something done. And you know what? It's funny because I'm talking with Dave Smith. Dave Smith's also an awesome guy. And we're arguing. I'm like, look, man, I know Trump isn't a perfect candidate. I just don't think we'll ever get one. But he's the best on foreign policy, despite all of the bad foreign policy. So when I'm looking at Donald Trump in 2019, 2020, and I'm starting to come around, I'm like, here's a guy who actively is working on peace agreements, getting our troops out of the Middle East. I will take it. And Dave Smith's response is, no, he's bad. Stop voting for the lesser of two evils. And I said, you are a revolutionary. I am a reformer. And I think I don't see anything wrong with that. I think we take our small victories as often as we can. But then we come to this. Should Kevin McCarthy be speaker? And, I can't get in that reformer position. Right now, you've got a lot of people saying this is the reform victory. Kevin McCarthy has conceded a lot of points. He's met with Donald Trump. He's gotten Donald Trump's endorsement, Marjorie Taylor Greene's endorsement. To be honest, you can look at it one of two ways. You can look at it like Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene have given into the machine, or you can recognize that Kevin McCarthy is now coming to the table with Donald Trump. I think Donald Trump's retiring, and I mean that somewhat figuratively. I think he's slowly bowing out. I think he's old. I think he's stressed. I mean, look, man, when the FBI raids your home, that's going to do something to you, even if you are Donald Trump. And so it may go to DeSantis, someone younger. Maybe that's the reason Donald Trump goes to McCarthy and they strike a deal. But you can also consider from the reform position that Kevin McCarthy came out against the $1.7 trillion omnibus because he knows he needs you. So there is a logical challenge that I see. That reformer in me says, I think we already got a lot. But then there's that obstinate rage within me where I'm just like, I am so sick of these people, man, that it feels good just to see them lose. But then there's the fear. Is Kevin McCarthy a uniparty Democrat? I'd say yeah. Liz Cheney endorsed him. Okay, then. What if he wants to lose? You see, if Kevin McCarthy wins, he's going to face pressure from the Republicans. They're going to say, we have the seat. We have the speaker suite. You must allow these things. They will get committees. They will get subpoena power. What if the establishment is hoping for this? What if the uniparty establishment is like, Trump has his thumb on McCarthy? Not like he's got a lot of power, but enough to push McCarthy in a direction we don't like. How can we sack this so that it forces an Amash or a Cheney, some kind of unity government, to prevent a real investigation? These are the kinds of nuanced thoughts that keep me up at night as I'm sitting there being like, man, do we just got to get McCarthy in? Because otherwise the Democrats are going to use this as an excuse to block any real investigation. Scary thoughts. And then the emotional joy. You know, there's like a devil on my shoulder. There's no angel and devil. It's a dude in a suit sipping tea being like, let's be realistic here. Are you really going to get Jim Jordan? Are you really going to get Byron Donalds, Freedom Caucus, as a Speaker of the House? Very, very unlikely. And if you don't support Kevin McCarthy, they may try and put out some kind of unity party, or Kevin McCarthy could cut a deal with Democrats and then block investigations. And I'm looking at this little guy in a suit and I'm like, that's a good point. And I look over and there's a legit devil and he's like, it feels good, man. Tell him to F off. And I'm like, I kind of like it. Look, if we just keep doing the same thing over and over again, are we not insane people? If we keep sticking our hand in the fire, are we not insane people? At a certain point, you got to be like, I understand you turned the heat down, dude, but I'm still not going to stick my hand on the stove. That's kind of how I feel. My analogies, how about that? The first time this raging fire was placed on and you stuck my hand in it, it hurt. And then over and over again, people keep saying, just try it one more time. And then finally, you get a Donald Trump, and I'm like, finally, there's some relief. Is it perfect? No, the water, look, I burned my hand, and you've got hot water next to it, but hot water's still not as hot as the fire. It's actually an improvement. We're getting there. It's warm water. Now you got Kevin McCarthy. Trump's come in and turned the fire down a little bit, and you still want me to stick my hand in it. I'll tell you this. Thomas Massie is a bowl full of ice. Byron Donalds even. I'm not super familiar with Byron Donalds. What I do know is I like what he has to say, and some people have said some good things about him. And so here's where I'm at. I know who Kevin McCarthy is. I'm interested in anyone else. Never Kevin. Let's take a look at this story from the Daily Mail. Byron Donalds says it's up to Kevin McCarthy, if he drops out and insists Speaker is not Trump's decision, as Republicans continue intense negotiations into how to end the farce. Byron Donalds on Wednesday became conservative Kevin McCarthy's critics' choice for House Speaker after Jim Jordan was their pick on Tuesday. I got to be honest, that is very, very silly. that on Tuesday they're all voting for Byron Donalds, and then come the next day, they're now, on Tuesday voting Jim Jordan. I got it backwards. And then the next day they switch. And full disclosure, when I bought shares on Predict It for Jim Jordan, not necessarily because I think he's going to win, but because I think he was going to be he'd be a prominent figure in the opposing Kevin McCarthy. And it was 12 cents a share. And then all of a sudden everyone flipped to supporting Byron Donalds. And now it's 6 cents and I lost $50. Urgh. That's how the prediction markets work. No, I don't really care that much. It was, I've never placed a bet on Predict It. Or I maybe have once, I don't remember when, but I had like 4 cents in my account. And so I was like, let's try this. Let's see how this thing works. Basically, the way Predict It works is you can buy shares. Who will be the Speaker of the House? Kevin McCarthy is in the lead. It bounces between him and Scalise. And it's like 50 cents per share. And then when it cashes out, you get something like 95 cents per share. So that's the way it works, I guess. So for Jim Jordan, it was 12 cents per share. You put in 100. I put in, I think $100. I got 835 shares. Now it dropped to 6 cents. If I sell those out, I get like $50 back or something like that. But here's another reason why I like Byron Donalds. There's a viral clip going around. It's really good. Where they ask him if he fears the backlash. And he's like, what does he say? He's like, I'm 6'5", 275 pounds. I'm not scared of any of that. I like that. So we'll see how this plays out. Quote, President Trump has been in a position that for several months, knowing President Trump, he doesn't change his mind, Donalds began. That's all well and good, but the members are going to decide this process. And if you know, that's no disrespect at all to President Trump. That's just the reality of the House. I like this guy. I saw him. I think he was one of the guys with Nancy Mace calling out those lying leftist activists. And I actually met him briefly. We were at the Project Veritas party. I saw Matt Gaetz, and I walked right up, and I was like, finally get to meet this guy. And he was like, how's it going? We've been trying to get Matt Gaetz on the show because we've been fans. We're bigger fans now. He's at the top of my list, to be completely honest. I love that fire. I love that passion. I just love the fact that someone is willing to look into the eyes of the machine and just say no, either calmly or with a bit of aggression. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Byron Donalds can do and has to say. And with that tweet from Jack Posobiec, I think it's an important point where we may end up. McCarthy leadership super PAC cut a deal to not get involved in safe open seat primaries. A huge concern. Can you trust them? Maybe. I mean, you got Amuse down here saying BS. I kind of agree. So I don't know. At what point do we give in? I'm sort of feeling at this point satisfied emotionally. And now I'm ready to actually see something get done. I don't know what that means. I got that fear that we put in Kevin McCarthy and then nothing changes. I've got that fear that this is exactly what the establishment wants. Kevin McCarthy is forced to concede to the Democrats and then no subpoenas. Ian Crossland on Timcast IRL, got to give him the shout out. He rolled a hot 20. For those that don't know the reference, in D&D, you either roll a 1 or a 20, a critical failure or a critical success, and that's Ian. He either says something ridiculously stupid or something just insanely brilliant. And he nailed this one. He said, no investigation could be better than an investigation, because if McCarthy gets in and they do a sham investigation to placate the normies and convince them nothing's happening, then you'll never get to the bottom of this. And I'm just like, my man, right there. That's my fear. McCarthy gets in, they get certain Republicans on committees, you get subpoena power, and then what? As everyone mentions, Benghazi all over again. Is that what we have here? I don't know. Yeah, here we go. Columbia Bugle. Rep. Matt Gaetz fires back at Trey Gowdy's clown show comment. Trey Gowdy would know something about clown shows. That's probably how a lot of us would categorize the Benghazi hearings that resulted in people screaming at each other and a big report, but no real accountability. There it is. Gaetz knows his stuff. And that's the thing, man. You will get your sham hearings. You will get your sham investigation. Do we just concede and recognize that it's going to be McCarthy? Maybe. No, I mean it. I'm not trying to be a defeatist, but the reformer in me says there's been a stand, and that's a powerful rebuke of the machine. We need some concessions. There may be certain concessions. Do we accept it now that we're going to get what we get? I don't know. The poll. Vox Populi, Vox Dei. Day, however you pronounce it. Should Kevin McCarthy be Speaker? Since 8:51 a.m., 19,520 votes, still saying no. So far be it from me to act like I know what should or should not be. What I can only tell you is the people don't want Kevin McCarthy. The only people who do are the establishment Republicans and those who fear him as GOP leader. And I'll give a shout out. We got to do a fact check here. A lot of people are pointing out on the World Economic Forum website, McCarthy is listed as the majority leader in the House. And people are like, how is the World Economic Forum already saying this? As if it's to imply that they've propped him up or there's a conspiracy. No. McCarthy is the majority leader already. He's the GOP leader in the House. Now that they've taken the majority, that means he's the majority and the leader. It does not mean he was elected by the House to be Speaker. It means he was elected by like the RNC establishment or something like that. He's the majority leader. And then Hakeem Jeffries is the minority leader. He just is. He's the leader for the Democrats, and they're now in the minority. So we'll see how all this plays out. Here's what we're going to do. For those that caught this clip on YouTube, I'm just running a live stream right now. So most people are watching live, or I should say there are people who are watching live. If you catch this on YouTube as a clip, come hang out in the live stream on the channel. And I think what I'm going to start doing is just like maybe around 9 or 9:15, maybe 9. I think 9's a good time. I'm just going to go live. And then what I do is when I get to the segment portion, I'm just going to hit record. I'm going to wrap up this segment right now, upload it, and we're going to keep the live stream going. And I got a whole bunch of other stories that I can record on and probably just do a whole bunch of clips. So I don't know, just here to have fun, chilling, talking nonstop, read some super chats. I wonder how many hours per day I will be able to do this. But for the time being, we will have the next clip up on this channel at 1 p.m. as per usual. The structure may change sometime next week. I'm just kind of feeling things out, seeing how things will go. And for those watching in the YouTube recorded clip, stick around, come hang out live. And for everybody watching live, we're going to keep it going. So I'm going to wrap up that clip right now. I'll see y'all then.